Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Bandai ThunderCats Tower of Omens playset. Now, one of the benefits of the 4-inch action figure line is that we're getting vehicles and playsets, which is really cool because that really harkens back to the old days when playsets were kind of the norm. Nowadays, you just don't really see large playsets like this, but since Bandai has said that the 4-inch line is mostly dedicated towards the kids, we get some cool little playsets just like this. Now yes, even as a collector, an adult collector, I still like buying things like playsets because they make cool environments, especially for displaying some of your figures. So of course, I had to pick up the Tower of Omens and check it out. Is it going to measure up to our expectations? We're about to find out. So first, let's go ahead and start by taking a look at the box art. The Tower of Omens does come in a larger box, and it features that same blue scheme that we've seen on all of the modern ThunderCats toys. The box actually does make it look pretty cool. It's got some nice photographs of the actual playset right there on the front. And then the back of the box kind of shows you some details of the playset, as well as shows you some of the other figures available in the ThunderCats line from Bandai. Alright, so I've already got the playset out of the box here. There is some minor assembly required, but I'll tell you what, it's not that difficult to put together. It's got some instructions, kind of guide you right through it, but one thing you're going to find out when putting this together is it's not a very solid playset. It's actually a bit flimsy, and you'll see exactly what I mean as we're taking a look at it. The first thing to really kind of notice is it's not really like a enclosed playset whatsoever. It's very open. And at first I wasn't sure that I was quite expecting it to be like this. It's more like an open environment than it is an actual playset. There's really nowhere to like go inside or anything like that. You can see it's composed of two main parts. You've got the entry gate up here in the front. This piece is actually shaped like a blue lion head, which is cool because it's kind of reminiscent of the old Cat's lair. It's just like a solid blue piece of plastic though. It's got some sculpted details on the top, like some vines, but they're not colored at all. It's all just blue. And this just sits on kind of a plain brown looking fence and a door area here. So not a lot of details. It's all just kind of solid colored plastics, just the blue and the browns. And you can see that it's just this piece right here by itself. It's not actually really attached to anything. These two little fence pieces just kind of plug on there, but you can see that they're real flimsy. They just kind of fall right apart. So like I said, it's not really that sturdy. So let's move that out of the way so you can see the main tower part. So this is the tower of the Tower of Omens. And it's kind of got the same thing going on. It's all mostly the same color brown there. It does have a little bit of blue painted details up here at the top. But again, it's got that same like vine sculpting going on there with the leaves and the vines, and they're completely unpainted. In fact, the parts where they go over the blue painted areas, they're just brown. It would have been kind of cool if they were actually painted like foliage, maybe some greens in there, but no, it's just all solid plastic. So, and the pieces that kind of come off, the little spires here that come off, are just like the fences on that other piece. You can see that they're real loose. They pop off and fall off real easy. In fact, it seems like every time I've picked this thing up and sat it back down, all the little legs have fallen off of it. So one of my concerns, it's not so bad if, I mean, you're just going to set this up on your shelf and display it, but if kids are actually going to play with this, it isn't going to hold together too well. I can see this thing toppling over very easy while the kids are just playing with it. So I'm not sure I'm too happy with the actual construction of the thing. Alright, so we got that part out of the way. Why don't we go and take a look at some of the actual features of this thing. Now, like I said, this is for the 4-inch figures. And it does include an exclusive figure that comes with the set, which is the Invisible Tygra. Basically, this is the same Tygra figure that came with the Thunder Cycle, just produced in like a transparent, clear plastic. So he's completely see-through, which is to mimic his little invisibility feature that he has in the cartoon series. His articulation is pretty standard. He's got the left and right swivel on the head, the up and down movement in the arms, no ball joints in the shoulders. His waist does not turn, but he does have the bendable knees and the leg joints. You can see that even though he's got that whole transparent build, he does still have the Thunderlink's magnet, and since he's clear, you can actually see the little magnet piece embedded in his back, which is kind of neat getting to see that. Now, Tower of Omens obviously should be a lot bigger than this. Playsets are usually always going to be off scale, so that's not like it's a huge surprise. If they made like an actual 2-scale Tower of Omens, it would have to be much bigger than this. But you can see that even having the 4-inch figure standing next to it, they look kind of like they're way too big to be hanging out with this particular Tower of Omens. But again, I can't really fault Bandai for that because playsets are always not going to be completely on model. You just can't really do that. Something as big as a Tower of Omens, it would have to be huge to be perfectly to scale with a 4-inch figure. Alright, so it's got some cool little action features. So we'll go ahead and start with the little front here. So we put the gate back up on the front, and the Thunder Links feature on the figures do activate some different mechanisms here on the Tower of Omens. So starting with this, if you hold the back of your figure where the magnet is up to the nose on the gate in the front, you get the doors opening up. Now, kind of neat that the magnet triggers the door. I do find it kind of funny that if Tygra were walking up to the Tower of Omens, he'd have to jump up and turn backwards to hold his back towards the nose to make the doors open. But whatever, I guess that's just, you know, the fun play factor. Oh, the magnet opens the door. So there you go, that's kind of neat. After that, this piece has completely served its purpose. There's really nothing else going on with that part. So now we come to the main tower itself. So before we get to anything, we'll go ahead and turn it on. Right here on the back, there's a little knob to turn the power on. So power is now on. So what we got going on here, there is a removable piece right here in the front of the tower. You just kind of reach down and fold that up and then pull the piece off. Yes, you completely remove this piece. This is how it works. So once you get that off, there's a little platform that is meant to stand your guys up on there. I'm actually going to go and put Lion-O on there since he's a little easier to see than the completely clear Tygra. So we get the little foot peg spots. Get Lion-O stood on there. Alright, so you have a small knob in the back which just kind of moves up and down to move this little elevator. So what we'll do is we bring Lion-O up, and as we come up towards the top, you see it opens up, and then when he gets all the way up, nothing happens apparently. Interesting. Yesterday I couldn't get this thing to shut up, and now it's not working. There we go. Alright, so literally this thing, when I had this out yesterday, it kept triggering that sound. Of course, when I do it in front of camera, it doesn't work. But when you get the figure rolled all the way up to the top, it triggers the ThunderCats ho sound. And it's not even activated by the Thunderlink magnet, as you can see. Just me moving the elevator all the way up makes it activate. And in fact, it seems like no matter what I do, makes it go off. See, I shook the playset and it talked. So I guess it's kind of motion activated. Maybe something with shaking the playset is what makes it say it. I have no idea why it didn't go off the first time. Probably just to make me look stupid. But there you go. And that's all it does. The little light up here at the top. There you go. I barely touched it and it went off. The light up here, we're turning that off now. But the light at the top also lights up to kind of send out the ThunderCats signal, which is kind of cool. But you'll notice that that's the exact same ThunderCats ho generic sound effect that was on the Thunder Tank and the Armor of Omens. It's not actually Lion-O's voice, it's just a generic voice that Bandai seems to be using for all of their ThunderCats toys. So, and that's the only sound that this particular playset makes. So, it's neat the first time, then it doesn't stop doing it, and you just want to turn it off. It's like, stop that. So that piece that we took off a little bit ago, this is interesting. There's a clip actually on both sides where the gate folded open. You can actually hook this part right here, clips right in there like that, and it folds down. And then what that's supposed to be is a slide so that your figures can get off the top after they've ridden the elevator up there. So that's that. That's pretty much the Tower of Omens right there. There's really not a whole lot to it. Now, it does come with a few other extra accessories. So let's look at those real quick. We'll get the tower out of the way as it's falling apart while we're moving it. Alright, so first up, we got this little cool catapult. Neat little catapult here. It's got the blue ThunderCat head at the top, and as you can see, it's got an opening mouth. And it actually does come with 2 of these little plastic rocks. So what we can do here is we can take this plastic rock, we can plug it into the mouth, the open mouth. We can push this lever. If I can keep the rock in the mouth, bink, just kind of catapults the little rocks. It works kind of neat. It's a neat little contraption. It's always cool having little extra accessories or weapons like that to come with your figures. So there's that. And then the second thing it comes with is this crazy little vehicle. Now, not a whole lot going on with this vehicle, but it is kind of neat. So let me show you how this works. So first of all, you've got the little handles in the front. So you can set your figure down and he holds them. It does have a launching missile on top. It doesn't have like the little spring-loaded thing. It's one of those ones where you just have to kind of push it to make it fire like that. It just pops it out there. So you got that in the front. Now, you can see I kind of actually activated the feature already. But what it is there's a Thunderlinks thing in here. So when you set one of your 4-inch figures on the vehicle, the magnet triggers the back part right there. You can see. So we get the little ThunderCats head rising up over the top right there, and we got ourselves a cool little vehicle. Now here's what's neat about this vehicle. Once you got the cat head up, the design of the vehicle, take a look at that. It's actually an homage to the original Cats lair. So that is pretty cool. Now, there's not a lot of details going on in the actual body of this car. It's all just a solid white piece of plastic. But I think it is kind of cool that Bandai kind of gave us a little homage to the original Cats lair. Neat little piece there, I think. So that is pretty much the Cat's Lair. Or the, I'm sorry, not the Cat's Lair, the Tower of Omens. The Cat's Lair from the 80s was a much cooler playset than this. Hands down, not even gonna lie. I don't know, it's one of those things where like, you want to have a really cool playset because playsets just don't really exist anymore. You don't see these come out very often. But this is just not that good of a playset. It's not very inspired. It's very flimsy and fragile. It falls apart. The action features are kind of silly. I mean, I understand that this is for kids, but I don't even see a lot of enjoyment for kids in this thing because there's just not a lot to do. There's nowhere to go inside. There's no compartments or anything like that. It's just this solid tower and this flimsy door that stands up at front that the fence doesn't even stay on. So, I don't know. I'll probably set it on my shelf still. I'll position my characters around it. It'll be a cool little environmental piece, but it's not nearly as cool as those old play sets that we used to play with when we were growing up. So there you go, guys. That's my look at the ThunderCats Tower of Omens. Tower of Omens is in stores now, so if this is something that you want to pick up, go ahead and take a look at it. It runs $39.99 in the stores, so I'm not sure if it's worth that price. I'll tell you what, check Amazon.com, because as the time I'm shooting this, that thing's on clearance already for like $11. If you can get this for $11, it's probably more worth it. Until next time.